Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here with us because today we're embarking on a pretty fascinating investigation into the hidden techniques of cinematography. We're going to pull back the curtain on the visual language of cinema and conduct a meticulous, step-by-step audit of the unseen forces that actually shape our viewing experience. If you love figuring out the why behind what you see on screen, well, you're in exactly the right place.
So tell me if this sounds familiar. Have you ever wondered why a specific scene in a movie made you feel completely, utterly trapped? Or maybe why a seemingly normal conversation just filled you with an overwhelming sense of dread? Let me tell you a secret. It's not just the script, and it's not just the acting. It's because as an audience, we are constantly being subconsciously manipulated by directors. They're literally hacking our emotions, and they're doing it entirely through unseen visual cues.
To uncover exactly how they pull this off, here is today's Audit Ledger. We'll be looking at 1. The subconscious screen. 2. Framing, boundaries of truth. 3. Lighting, shadows and subtext. 4. Movement, directing the eye. And finally, 5. The viewer's final audit.
Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the subconscious screen, or as I like to call it, the hacked audience.
Usually our conscious mind is super focused on the plot, right? We're trying to figure out who shot who or who's falling in love with who. But beneath that surface layer, the visual language of cinema is completely bypassing our logical filters. It is speaking directly to your nervous system. The movie screen is basically a ledger of hidden truths, where absolutely nothing is accidental. Seriously, if a coffee cup is sitting in the bottom left corner of the frame, it's there for a very deliberate reason. If a character is bathed in cold blue light, that is a calculated move to manipulate how you feel. The director is acting as the auditor of your attention, meticulously organizing all these visual assets to balance the emotional books. They want to ensure you feel exactly what they want you to feel at any given millisecond.
Let's move on to our first major suspect. Section 2, Framing, Boundaries of Truth. This is all about dictating reality.
This concept is all about how the literal, physical borders of the screen control exactly what we believe is true within the story. The frame is the absolute limit of our cinematic reality. Take the wide shot, for example. When a director places a tiny character in a massive, sweeping landscape, our brains instantly process a feeling of cold isolation. We feel their insignificance, their loneliness, maybe even a sense of freedom, but we are completely detached. Contrast that with a close-up. By forcefully punching the camera in super tight on a character's face, the director strips away all that surrounding context. It creates this extreme vulnerability and inescapable intimacy. We're forced to look right into their eyes, totally trapped in their immediate emotional state. The frame literally dictates the feeling.
This is exactly why master filmmakers treat the frame as a tool of subconscious manipulation. It dictates reality simply by choosing what to exclude. It's what lies just out of sight, just beyond those rigid rectangular boundaries of the lens that often exerts the most psychological pressure on us. Think about the monster you can't quite see or that ticking clock just out of view. What the director leaves out is just as vital and honestly sometimes way more powerful than what they put in.
That brings us to Section 3, Lighting, Shadows and Subtext. Welcome to the noir interrogation. So, if the frame creates the physical boundaries of our reality, lighting determines what we're actually allowed to see within it. Let's establish a foundational term for our audit here. Chiaroscuro. It comes from the Italian words for clear or light and obscure or dark. It's the deliberate use of really strong contrasts between light and dark to create a palpable sense of volume and dramatic tension. This stark, high-contrast lighting isn't just to make things look cool or moody. No, it is a primary weapon in the filmmaker's arsenal for subconscious manipulation. They actively use it to hide secrets or reveal a character's true inner morality.
It's fascinating because shadows actually speak to us in a remarkably clear language. First off, they conceal critical information, which naturally makes us lean forward, right? We're straining our eyes to see what's hiding in the dark. Second, they indicate profound moral ambiguity. Imagine a tense scene in a detective film where the harsh light of a street lamp slices through Venetian blinds, casting these prison bar shadows across the hero's face. Half of their face is brightly lit, but the other half is swallowed in total darkness. Are they the good guy? Are they corrupt? The lighting alone is telling us their soul is torn. And finally, shadows build intense subconscious suspense. When a character walks down a dimly lit alleyway, and this massive, distorted silhouette stretches across the brick wall before the actual threat even arrives, your heart rate spikes instantly. The shadow is doing all the heavy emotional lifting long before the action actually starts.
All right, let's shift our audit over to Section 4, Movement,
directing the eye, let's talk about kinetic energy.
A camera isn't just a static observer. Its physical movement through space is one of the most direct ways a director literally pulls you through a narrative. Let's audit the hidden truth behind this movement. When a camera is locked down firmly on a tripod, the subconscious effect on us is complete stability and order. We feel safe. The narrator feels reliable, objective, and entirely in control. But switch up the technique. The absolute second the camera is taken off that tripod and goes handheld, the effect is instantaneous anxiety and chaos. The frame shakes, it breathes, it trembles. Without changing a single word of dialogue, switching from a smooth, locked-off shot to a shaky handheld one injects a visceral feeling of panic straight into your bloodstream. You feel like you're right there in the room, and whatever is happening is wildly unpredictable.
And this perfectly illustrates what I like to call surprising brain tricks. We have these highly advanced human brains capable of incredibly complex logic and reasoning, and yet we get completely tricked by a director slightly tilting or pushing a piece of glass. It's delightfully absurd when you really think about it. A tilted Dutch angle immediately throws off our equilibrium, giving us this instant psychological vertigo. A super slow, almost imperceptible push-in toward a character subtly signals that we're arriving at a terrifying realization. The room literally feels like it's shrinking around us. A quick pan disorients us entirely, mimicking the frantic, panic turn of a human head. The camera moves, and our bodies instinctively, physically react.
And finally, we have arrived at Section 5, the viewer's final audit, making the invisible visible.
We've looked at the evidence together today, the isolating or intimate framing, the morally ambiguous lighting, the anxiety-inducing movement. So, what do we actually do with this ledger of hidden truths? Well, you now have the tools to make the invisible visible. I want to empower you with 3 practical steps to take back control of your viewing experience. Step 1, recognize the frame. Whenever you watch a scene, consciously ask yourself what is being intentionally left out to build pressure. Step 2, interrogate the light. Where are the shadows falling, and what exactly are they trying to hide or reveal about a character's shifting morality? Step 3, track the movement. Is the camera soothing you with lockdown stability, or is it artificially injecting you with panic through shaky, chaotic energy?
So I have to ask, now that you can see the strings, will you ever watch a movie the same way again? Honestly, I sincerely hope not. Once you learn to audit the unseen, the passive act of viewing transforms into a thrilling, active investigation. You're no longer just a hacked audience member subject to someone else's emotional manipulation. You're an active participant. You're now fluent in the complex visual language of cinema. I highly encourage you to put these skills to the test on the very next movie you watch. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, stay curious.